Brent and Amy Powell, and that was Murdock Beach, which is west of Port Angeles. It's my favorite beach. Most of the time, nobody's there. It's also known as Round Rock Beach because the rocks are round, a lot of them. So that's fun to find. And
you do have to look quite a bit to find ones.
So I have so many.
Nice as these, you know.
I have so many that the hunt is for the most perfect, or a different color, or just different sizes.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Yeah.
That was
so this is the Port Angeles and Sequim weekly update on real estate, and what we do every week is cover the homes in our area, and that's mainly northern Olympic Peninsula. We don't go all the way to Port Townsend or Port Hadlock, but primarily Sequim and Port Angeles and their outlying areas, which is Diamond Point and Joyce, you know, if you know where that is. So.
And Berkey and Winnie are the two pups running around. They're ours.
Yeah, what we normally do is run through the homes that have closed this last week. We're looking at 20 this week. And anyway, usually we'll have a couple of words of advice on and explanation of real estate practices and maybe some things about the trends in the market that we're seeing. So, well, let's get going. Honey, you want to start it?
Yes. First house this week in Port Angeles, because we start from Port Angeles and we start with the least expensive, was on Ennis Street. Listed for $254,000. It sold for $243,000. 1 bedroom, 1 bath, 31 days on the market. Built in 1940, with 500 square feet, on 0.08 of an acre and a territorial view.
All right, the next one is on 2nd Street, and we live on West 2nd. This is East 2nd, that away, and originally priced and at $315,000, sold at $315,500. So that's $500 over asking. It has 2 bedrooms, 1 bath, 8 days on the market, built in 1932 with 864 square feet. And 0.12 of an acre with mountain view.
Thank you. The next house, number 3, is on West 9th Street. This is still Cherry Hill. Listed for $449,950. It sold for $460,000. So it went over asking nicely. 3 bedrooms, 2 baths, 5 days on the market. Built in 1913 with 1,692 square feet. On 0.19 of an acre and a neighborhood view. That is a nice neighborhood. I like it.
You get new glasses?
Yeah.
Oh, cool.
I have a bunch of them.
Those are, kind of leopard lady glasses. Huh?
Pink leopard lady.
Okay, nice. Next one is in Eden Valley. Eden Valley is pretty cool. It's west of town on the way to Joyce. It kind of goes up in the hills. And originally priced and sold at $525,000. This has 3 bedrooms, 1 bath. 1 day on the market, built in 1940 with 1,298 square feet. And it has some acreage, 3.66 acres with territorial view.
Nice. The next one is also on 2nd Street. This one's on East 2nd Street again. I don't know that one.
You don't?
No.
Looking who's sitting in the garage.
Oh. Oh yeah.
It's one
Forgive us.
It's one we sold. We sold last week.
Yeah. Dang. Listed for $545,000. It sold for $560,000. 3 bedrooms, 2 baths, 9 days on the market. Built in 1960 with 2,400 square feet and on a little over 3/4 of an acre, saltwater and mountain view.
Yeah. Okay, Lisa Lane is next one that we're going to go over. Originally priced at $835,000, sold for $827,000. 3 bedrooms, 3 baths, 29 days on the market, built in 1998 with 2,392 square feet with 2.61 acres and a mountain view. Very nice area out there. We've sold at least one on that street before.
And the last house in Port Angeles is on Straight View Drive, which is in Four Seasons Ranch. Listed for $899,000. It sold for $877,000. 3 bedrooms, 3 baths, 19 days on the market. Built in 1996 with the 3,131 square feet on just over a half an acre and a saltwater and mountain view.
Yeah, that's a big place.
Boy, that's the 90s, that architecture.
Yeah, three stars.
Okay,
it
you
looks
start
like.
off with
Okay,
Sequim.
now we're in Sequim, and this one would be interesting to know the story. It's on Fitzgerald Road.
Why?
Well, it goes on the market of $554,000, finally sells for $300,000.
Oh.
Like, whoa, that's how'd that happen? So $254,000 under asking, and it has 4 bedrooms, 2 baths, 287 days on the market, built in 1966 with 3,385 square feet, 1.36 acres, and territorial view.
Very good. The next one is on Woodcock in Sequim, West Sequim, listed for $419,000. It eventually sold for $390,000 with 2 bedrooms, 1.5 baths, 31 days on the market. Built in 1980 with 1,408 square feet on 1.25 acres and a mountain view.
Moving on to Sunset Place. Originally priced at $479,000, sold for $450,000. Just $29,000 less than asking. 2 bedrooms, 2 baths, 17 days on the market. Built in 1973 with 1,484 square feet, 0.21 of an acre, in neighborhood view.
Great. House number 4 in Sequim is on Sycamore Street Drive. I don't know. Listed at $459,000. That is what it sold for. 3 bedrooms, 2 baths, 31 days on the market. Built in 2014 with 1,655 square feet. Oh, this must be a condo. On leased land, no acres, saltwater mountain view.
All right, next over to Honeycomb Circle. Originally priced at $499,000, sold for $470,000. 3 bedrooms, 2 baths, 69 days on the market. Built in 1991, and it has 1,469 square feet, 0.23 of an acre, and they have mountain view there.
All right, moving on to Burnt Mountain Place. Listed for $479,000. It sold for $475,000. 3 bedrooms, 2 baths, 12 days on the market. Built in 1977 with 1,524 square feet and 0.3 of an acre, mountain view.
Okay. Next home in Sequim is Cathay Court. Originally priced at $575,000, sold for $500,000. 3 bedrooms, 2 baths, 6 days on the market, built in 1999 with 1,500 square feet, 1.10 acres, mountain view. And
the next house in Sequim, we have a lot in Sequim today, is on Cherrywood Place. Listed for $624,000. It sold for $612,000. 3 bedrooms, 2 baths, 88 days on the market. Built in 1997 with 1,607 square feet on 0.36 of an acre and a mountain view.
Okay, Williamson Road. Priced at $750,000 and sold for $680,000, $70,000 less. 3 bedrooms, 2 baths, 1 half bath, 109 days on the market, built in 1990. With 1,926 square feet, 1.04 acres, and mountain view.
Moving on to Lupin Drive. Lupine. I knew a little girl named Lupin.
Really?
$725,000 for this one. It sold for $685,000. 40,000 less. 2 bedrooms, 3 baths. 20 days on the market, built in 1981, with 2,232 square feet on a little over 1/4 of an acre and a saltwater view.
Okay, and this this next one is on a road that nobody knows how to pronounce. It's Lotzengel. Anyway, road. Originally priced at $900,000, sold for $850,000. 2 bedrooms, 2 baths, 22 days on the market, built in 2001 with 2,500 square feet, 4.56 acres. Nice size plot there with mountain view. 2 to go.
2 to go. The next one is on Covington Court. Originally optimistically listed for $995,950. It ended up selling for $875,000. 3 bedrooms, 2 baths, 417 days on the market. That must have got old.
Brand new home.
Built in 2023 with 2323 square feet on 1.26 acres and a mountain view.
Okay, bringing it home, wrapping it up for the day. This is on Pond Lane. Must be a pond there somewhere. And this was originally priced at $1,350,000, sold for $1,075,000, which is $275,000 less than asking. 3 bedrooms, 3 baths, 130 days on the market, built in 2022, and has 3,025 square feet with 2.36 acres and mountain view.
So
there you have it.
I see patterns. So if you notice, the only area that went over asking was in Port Angeles, and we had 3 in Port Angeles went over asking, and none went over asking in Sequim. So yeah.
Okay, we have something to share that.
Okay.
We try to learn all the time about real estate, and this is something that we've just come across. Kind of could be a paradigm shift in the way realtors do things.
Lots of those around these days.
Yeah, a lot of those around these days. But this has to do with the inspection. And I'll try to explain this, and we're going to kind of talk back and forth. She'll help me clarify it. I'll help her clarify it. But traditionally what happens is that when it comes time to sell your home, the seller will not get a pre-inspection. And the rationale is that we don't want to know anything that's considered a material fact. So a material fact, that's a technical term, is anything that has to do with the value of the home. And so normally how it goes down is that the house will go on the market for a given price, and the motto would be buyer beware. So it's up to the buyer to discover all of the information about that home. If the seller knows a material fact, like there's a sinkhole under the garage with an old Corvette in it, he has to disclose that legally. And if they buy the home and that wasn't disclosed, and the seller knew it, then that's cause for a lawsuit. Doesn't happen often. So the buyer will pay a certified home inspector to come in and just go through the whole house, all of the systems, and things that need to be corrected. In other words, faults with the home. And if some of those are material faults, then the buyer has the option of requesting some repairs. And so the form is Form 35. It's inspection response. So let's say I'm the buyer. My inspector goes into the home and he finds 6 things that are wrong with the home that I'm going to have to fix when I get there. So those are actually deductions on the value. Let's say they're asking $500,000 for the home, and I get some estimates from licensed contractors to the tune of $4,500. So I would then give my inspection response to the buyer through my agent, and it would say, here's the things that are wrong, here's what each one of them is going to cost to repair. So I'm requesting the seller to either repair those or lower the price by $4,500. And that could also, as we've had this last week, a buyer requested of our seller to lower. So he didn't tell us anything wrong with the home. He just says, give me $4,000 on the closing costs, which is one way to do it. And our buyer objected at that and would not do it. But normally you're going to give those options, either fix these things.
Our seller.
What? Our seller, yeah. Fix these things or adjust the price. And that's typically the way it's done in Washington State. And so the alternative, which some choose to do, and I kind of like, is where the seller would have a pre-inspection and just disclose the whole thing to the buyer. So then the inspection is on the seller to present the home. Here's where the home is. And then the home is sold as is where is. And so once, because sometimes these are news, these problems are news to the seller. Well, I thought it was okay.
And the seller has priced the house with those things in mind and deducted.
Yeah.
So it's a different way of looking at it.
The problem is with the way we normally do it now is that when the inspection response comes to the seller, both of them are under contract until that happens. And then as soon as the buyer requests any change, then, and if the seller agrees to the change, then they're both still under contract, bound by law to complete the transaction. If the seller says, no, I'm not going to do that, or gives a counteroffer, I won't do $4,500, I'll do $2,250, then the seller can walk. In other words, so what the inspection has often become is a chance for the seller to get beat up by the buyer. So the buyer says, okay, I'm going to go in with this price that's more than I want to pay, and I'm going to beat them up on inspection response. If they don't respond adequately, I'm going to walk. And so it's kind of an unnecessary extension of the whole process, and it's it can be pretty nerve-wracking. You want to add something?
I always hated that time.
Yeah, we just hate that. So a lot of times you can't really know if you're actually going to sell the house until you get through the inspection response, and that contingency is waived. So you want to sum it up, because I was rather complicated.
So everything is done. If you're a seller, we have to ask your permission. We have to lay out the options, and this would be one option to take into account what needs to be done on the house because you've had an inspection, a pre-inspection, and then adjust your price, and then there's no this back and forth thing.
Yeah.
It is what it is.
So either buy the house or not.
Yeah.
Get off. Anyway, I'm going to use a phrase that's probably not good. Anyway. But, yeah. So if you have any questions, let us know. We really enjoyed doing it.
Okay, we had some questions this week.
Oh yeah.
About the county's assessment tax, the property tax. In our county, it's 0.98%. Property tax yearly. So there were some questions about other areas, and I just do not know what their property tax is. So Seattle, I'm sure it's more.
Yeah, that's definitely something to take into consideration. So when it comes to the property taxes or the city taxes, some, like our city is, we're not flush with money, and neither is the county. So every so often the county will reassess. They call it an appraisal. It is not an appraisal. Generally across the board, the county appraisal is significantly below the market value. And so the house may sell for $500,000. Most of the time the county appraisal will be like $380,000, $400,000, $420,000, like that. So if, and this year one of our friends had a reassessment by the county, and it tripled his taxes. So he's contesting it, and you can contest it. And sometimes it helps to have the help of your local realtor to provide comps to the county and says, no, you're way off on this. Here's where market value is for this home.
Yeah, because the assessment is the value that they tax on, not the amount that you would pay for the house.
Right.
And then, what was I going to say? Lost it.
It was going to be good.
It was good.
I could tell,
yeah. It was really good, yeah.
Well, have a great week. God bless you, and do your best to do your best.
And vote.
And vote, yeah, you got to vote.